Buying brand new furniture is expensive, and I'm in the middle of transforming my guest bedroom while staying on a budget. My goal is to use free furniture but still make it work with the overall aesthetics I'm going for in this room. And I already have this little dresser that was left behind when our roommate moved out. The problem is that it's too small for the space and is outdated. I also need a pair of night tables, which luckily Tony's mom had these and I think they will be perfect as night tables. The problem is that they need quite a bit of repair.
It's in some bad shape.
But you can't beat free furniture. They need a lot of work though.
This top is not coming off without violence.
The plan is to repair the furniture to the best of my abilities so that it doesn't fall apart.
Gotta be kidding me.
Then I will modify the little dresser by adding a base to make it a little bit taller. But I've never done this kind of modification before. So will I be able to transform both of these pieces into something absolutely beautiful?
I don't like it.
We'll see, I guess.
Alright, so the first step is to clean them because they're a little dirty.
I got out my collapsible table so that I can work having everything at eye level instead of on the floor. My back and my neck would appreciate it.
This thing has like a paper under it. Some of these pieces at the edges are being stubborn. I'm just cutting them off with a utility knife. All cleaned up, but as I'm taking a closer look, this is gonna need some repairs. Okay, I'm just gonna wipe it down with some crook cutter.
Since I'm going to be painting these night tables, it's important that I clean them thoroughly so that the paint bonds properly. The paint I will be using is Beyond Paint, and one of the recommendations is to use an all-purpose degreaser. They have been sitting in storage for a very long time, and that's why there's so much built up on it. I like to start cleaning them while they're upside down, that way I don't miss any spots, especially under the surfaces, which is hard to see when you're looking at the furniture upright. It probably would have been a good idea to use a sponge or something to scrub them with, but I didn't think of it at the time.
What is the purpose of this? Should I take it off? I think I will, because I have to clean this. Huh, interesting though. It's interesting that it has a wire like under the table, and I wonder what the purpose of it is.
My best guess is that this table got wobbly at some point and someone tried to make it more stable by using hooks and wire to tie the legs to each other, but I'm going to try to fix it in a different way.
Oh, it's in some bad shape.
So as I'm cleaning this furniture, I'm also brainstorming how I'm going to fix them later. I didn't know the state of the tables when I got them, and I was hoping they were in good shape, but they need a little love. And I have to deal with this before I paint them because I don't want them to fall apart. To clean the dresser, I pretty much did the same thing as the tables. I wiped them down with crook cutter inside and out.
I think I figured out how I want to repair this. It's in pretty rough shape, but it's also like not that bad. I think the worst part is probably the leg because it's completely separated. I literally have to add to the little platform here so it attaches back to the leg. So that might be a little challenging, I don't know. And then there's like just a bunch of dents and scratches and like the corners of the legs, some parts of it are missing. So my plan is to use high performance wood filler, which I've used before to repair pretty much anything. It's a 2-part wood filler and it's supposed to bond really good. Okay, you see how there's a chunk missing here? So my plan is to take some blue tape and then I'm gonna put the wood putty on there, let it dry, and then sand it to shape. This has a 15-minute cure time, so it's important to only use what you can use in 15 minutes. You gotta be kidding me. There's a freaking giant bug in here. Look at it. You see that? Okay, it left. Now I can continue working.
I have to say, I've done quite a few repairs, but they're usually on flat surfaces. This one, where I have to try and shape it by sanding it, is the first one for me. So at this point, I'm not sure if this is gonna work. It just feels like I'm doing plastic surgery on wood. The flat surfaces weren't all that challenging. After this wood filler dries for about 20 minutes, it gives you the chance to shape it or cut off the excess before it completely cures. Once it cures, it becomes part of the surface and it can be sanded.
This is completely separated, but I figured if I put it in place, it holds a little bit, and what's missing is the chunk over here on this side. So I'm thinking to build it up with a putty, but to do that, since it's such a big chunk, I'm gonna put like this little mesh tape that I found on my stack of tapes. I'm gonna put a mesh tape there and build it up with the same putty, and I hope that that works. It's actually pretty cool. It made the surface that I was looking for to get in there. I thought it was gonna stay in there, like it was gonna bond and glue itself, but I guess it didn't. So I'm gonna do a little bit of wood glue. The rest of the dents and the scratches and stuff, I'm just gonna do them with regular wood filler. And my goal isn't to get everything to that so that this looks brand new, even though it'll be close once I paint it, but just enough so there's not chunks missing off of it, you know? This one's actually not in terrible shape. There's only like 2 little chunks missing, and it is loose down here, but it's not like I don't have to do what I did with the other one where I had to like build it up to get it back in there. So I just have to glue it. So when I'm done for today, I'm gonna put wood glue in there and clamp it down, and hopefully they'll keep it in place. So I'm gonna sand the first corner, but I'm a little nervous because I'm afraid that I'm gonna sand it off. I'm gonna start slowly with the multi-tool to just kind of have control where I'm sanding. And if it's too much, then I'll just hand sand it all. But I wanna do it with a power tool first to get it to the right thickness, and then I'll shape it with hand sanding. It worked. Like that chunk that was missing, I built it back up with that wood filler. I'm pretty impressed. It's not perfect. Like I might have to do like a second coat and sand a little bit more to like shape it perfectly, but the way it was before, how there was a chunk missing versus now, is like not really gonna be that noticeable once it's all painted.
These tables used to belong to Tony's grandma, so while I'm bringing them back to life, let me tell you a little about her. At 80 years young, she was still hand sanding and refinishing some old dining chairs to bring them back to life, so I like to think that she'll be happy to see her little tables made new again. Tony's grandma was quick to accept me into the family and was happy that Tony and I worked so well together. I didn't get to know her for very long before she passed away, but Tony has told me lots of stories.
You're so cute. I think I'm getting my face washed.
It is 63 degrees outside right now. It is the first cool day we have after we had 2 hurricanes try to kill us back to back. So I am very much enjoying the moment. Okay, I'm gonna work now. So I have to do a second pass of the wood filler on a couple of spots here and then sand it. But then after that, that should be good and I should have these tables done. So after I'm done doing that, then I get to figure out what I'm gonna do with this dresser.
After I was done repairing the tables, I glued the legs with wood glue and then clamped them all in place.
Let's talk about this little chest dresser over here. So when I did the one-day makeover, I used this as a night table because this thing is really small. And I went through trying to finding a bigger one. It didn't work out. So I'm gonna keep this one, and my goal is to make it a little bigger, especially taller. I wanna add at least 6 inches to it. And I can't really make it much wider unless, I don't know, I really do some modifications, but I wanna see if I can add like an inch, inch and a half to the width also. So the way I'm gonna do that, I'm gonna build some custom legs. First, I wanna add like a little skirt, this that you see here. It's not necessary, but I'm thinking it'll add like 3/4 of an inch on the height. And then I can do legs that are 5 to 6 inches high. And then maybe on the side, I'm thinking to add like a little trim around it to just add a little something something. And then I'll change the top so that I can make it a little bit wider. I have a problem. Something's not even here at the bottom. And then for me to build a skirt, I think it will be visible if it's crooked. I'm wondering. Yep. So this wobbles, which means I think maybe if I shim the bottom, I might be able to get that bottom part straight to where when I build that skirt, it's all even. Yep, I think that's gonna work. See, like now the gap is even. I consider shaving that part off, but I measured like the height of this side and that side, and then I put a level on it, and it's pretty level. Like, I don't even know why it's crooked. Like, it seems to be all the right size. It doesn't look crooked over here. It's not unleveled. It just has a little bit of wobble. If I shave that, I'm very afraid to ruin it. So I think adding the shim is gonna be the best option. There. Oh, no, it's a little bit of wobble. Every problem has a solution, and sometimes you just have to stare at it for a while to figure out what the answer is. And sometimes you just need the internet. My shim idea is not gonna work because it's still wobbly. I looked up online to see if there was a ways to fix this, and then I saw this guy sanding the legs of a wobbly chair, so it gave me the idea of sanding one of these legs to make it even and not wobbly, and hopefully even out this front part over here that's bothering me. All done. I sanded it. Now it looks even here, and no wobble. It's good. Okay, ready to make some legs. Before I can make the legs, I need to make the skirt. Before I can make the skirt, I need to repair some of the dents that this has, because it also has dents just like the table. So I'm gonna repair them the same way. I also have to repair the cracks. There's like a couple cracks on this side, so I'm gonna fix that with CA glue. I also need to build some support around here that the skirt can sit on, because the skirt is also gonna serve as support as the legs. Does that make sense? Okay, what did I say the first thing was? I use CA glue to repair the cracks, and it comes with a spray that activates the glue and it makes it dry almost immediately. Okay, so now for the skirt, I don't even know if it's called a skirt, I just call it a skirt. But it's basically this trim that's gonna go right underneath it. I don't want it to be plain and square, and I forgot to look at the store if there was like decorative trim that I could use, but I didn't get any, so all I have is flat pieces of wood. So I'm gonna take the router and make a decorative edge. And routing something this thin is a little tricky, so I'm using this kind of as the base, and I'm gonna secure this with screws so that it doesn't move while I'm routing it. And then I have it secure with clamps on the sawhorses. I don't think it's the best setup, but it's the best I can do for now because I don't have a router table. Every time I have to change the router bit is a struggle. Ouch. There. I was doing a couple of test cuts here at the edge to see what height was the right height. I think I got it, so now I'm just gonna go ahead and do the whole thing. That screw is in my way, so I'm hoping I didn't ruin this or that I can cut the pieces. Let me make sure the other one is good. Oh.
Tiffany, I have a question. I can't even figure out how to phrase my question.
What?
You look a little like,
Oh no, the microphone.
Do you have to turn out your pockets to get the sawdust out?
I'm the sawdust princess. You want to hear something funny? I have baseboard in storage that is the same exact edge I just did on that piece. So I could have just used that as my little base skirt and nobody would have noticed. But I didn't notice until now. I didn't even know what the edge was gonna look like because it's the first time I used that. It just says OG. I'm like, okay, let me try it. Hopefully I like it. But it looks like just like the little trim that you see on baseboards. All right, so I have the little decorative trim done for the bottom, but it's wobbly because it needs more support here. So I'm gonna use scrap wood to go all the way around. And the legs are gonna be mounted to this. So the reason I want it to be that thick is because this is going to be the base, or like where the legs attach to. For scrap wood, this can go here in the back. That can be in the front. I think this one's enough for both sides. Okay, I'm gonna do the... Okay, I'm gonna cut this. So I got it all framed out. I just gotta secure it in place for this back piece because there was nothing here before. I used a thick piece of wood and I'm gonna secure it with pocket screws and wood glue. And these, I'm just gonna use nails and wood glue. And that is gonna make it thick enough to hold the trim that I'm putting and to support the legs. So part of why I'm doing this too is so that there's enough support for the legs. Well, I was hoping to finish this tonight, but I don't have the right size nails that I want to do for this. So I have to go to the store, but it's 9 o'clock at night and Lowe's is closed. So this is gonna have to wait till tomorrow. These nails are not really meant to hold a lot of weight. I mean, they're very thin, so I don't think they have any structural support. I just put a bunch of them on and I use wood glue for extra strength. One of them came out of the other end. 2 of them. Ooh, no, there's more. What? Maybe I have to rethink the nail part of this. This won't work without a battery. Ooh, see that spark? What's a few more repairs? I don't know why I decided that nails would be the best idea to do this instead of just using screws, which I have hundreds and hundreds.
After I got done overcomplicating this project, I then started sanding all the repairs of the dresser. Now that I'm outside in the light, let's admire the repairs. I'm actually pretty impressed that I pulled this off because I was not sure.
So my plan with this dresser is to paint the box and the drawers and the top and the legs that I'm building are going to be stained. So I have to sand this off to where the stain comes off so I can re-stain it.
I started sanding with 80 grit to strip the stain off, and then I went up to 120 and finished up with 220 grit. Some of the sides of the drawers were a little rough, so I sanded those too.
Alright, that was a long sanding session, but it had to be done. So I wanted to do this first, but then I realized that sanding the dresser first would be better because it'll be easier to do it first. So now I'm going to put the trim that goes at the bottom. I put this one up already with the clamps and I glued it. I'm going to use wood glue and nails. And nails should be okay for this one. Now these are long over here, so I'm going to mark them now that this is in place. And now I have the mark of where to cut it. Just want to see what it looks like. Look at it, it's so cute. Nice. I see potential. Finally, I get to build the legs, which I've been really excited for. To build the legs, I'm gonna use a 1x3 and a 2x2.
The design of this wood base I'm building is not something I came up with. I actually got this idea from DIY Wife. She has a tutorial on how to make this base and I pretty much follow that. I've been a longtime fan of DIY Wife's channel and I remember watching this video a long time ago and wanting to make a furniture base at some point, and I finally have the perfect piece of furniture to try this on. To make the angle on the front, I just kind of eyeballed it and marked it where it seemed right, and then I turned my miter saw to match the angle and it ended up being 10 degrees. This seemed like a pretty dangerous cut, so to make it a little bit safer, I put a piece of wood on each side of the leg and clamped it down so it wouldn't move. I also left the leg pretty long so that I could hold it while I'm cutting. It's recommended to do this with a hardwood like red oak, but I decided to do it with pine to keep the cost low, and also because I wanted the stain color to match with the drawers, and I can tell that the drawers are made out of pine.
They came out perfect. Look at that. Okay, now I'm gonna cut them to size.
After I cut all the pieces to size, I made pocket holes so that I could attach it later to the bottom of the dresser. I also did a quick sand with 220 before assembling.
I'm leaving a little space there. It's about 1/8 of an inch. To make it consistent, I'm just using the woodworking ruler to push it back. Same distance. And then I'm gonna try my best to do the screws on this without shifting it. There you go. Nice. Let me get a wet napkin so I can wipe off the glue before it dries. I did have a little mess up, probably because I was holding it by hand. So this was supposed to be flush with the top of the legs, and it wasn't on the first side, so I just made it equal on both sides. You see how there's a gap. However, this little trim right here, since this is
upside down right now when it's standing, I don't think that's gonna be visible at all. And as long as I make it even, this shouldn't be a problem. Like, it'll look like it's supposed to be like that, if that makes sense. But it was actually a mistake. Trying to find the right way to hold this in place to attach the feet was actually very challenging because it was awkward and I was getting really annoyed. You gotta be kidding me. But after a bit of swearing in both English and Spanish, I finally got it. And you think the next one went better, but it didn't. I had to unscrew it and adjust it again. When I screwed in the pocket hole, the wood went in crooked, so I had to cover the screw hole with a wooden dowel and try it again. And those last 3 pieces kicked my butt. But came out nice. Very nice. Okay, what now? I'm not gonna attach them yet because I gotta paint this and this gets stained. So it's better if I leave it separate for now and I'll attach it at the end. But I'm very impatient. I like to see what things look like. Look at that. That looks really nice. Can't believe I pulled this off. It's loose, so it's probably why it's wobbling. We'll see. I keep thinking that I'm ready to paint. There's actually more steps that I have to go through. So, let's talk about the sides. Remember, I might do something with the sides. Hi, this is Future Tiffany. I'm going to save you some time from my 2-minute explanation on what I was doing and just tell you that I didn't do anything with the sides. I just didn't know it yet, so let's skip to the next step. I'm gonna take this top off. It looks like it's all screws. Let's see, I'm actually scared about this part. Oh no. I was hoping that this right here was kind of attached to these, because they have staples, I can see it, but it is so loose. I'm just afraid that, no, it shouldn't lose support. Okay, I'm freaking out for no reason. Ignore me. Oh, what is holding the top? This top is not coming off without violence. My screwdriver just broke. Look at this. What in the world? Why? Come on. Oh, there it goes again. Oh, wait. Okay. Nope. Still not. Okay, came off this side. This side. Man, what's holding it? Ah, they had it stapled. That wasn't too bad. I don't want to tear this back off because I don't want this to become a complete project. Like if I'm changing every piece of this dresser, might as well build a new one. So I was trying not to tear it. I was just tore up in the corner here, but it goes against the wall, so it's not gonna be noticeable. But yep, I can work with this. The top is off. But it's 8 o'clock and I want to go to the store before they close to get more of these because I just know this is not going to be enough. So I'm going to get another one and I'll continue this tomorrow. That was an acorn from the trees falling on the roof. So I went to the store last night and I got the trim pieces I needed. And when I came back, I still had energy to cut them and put them in place. But I did a couple test pieces and realized that I didn't think ahead. When I made the bottom trim piece that I call the skirt, I didn't make it wide enough. So when I did the side pieces,
it kind of covers the decorative part. Like it just, I don't know, just for me doesn't look right, and I didn't like it. So after all that, I'm not doing the side trim pieces. So I'm just gonna paint. To paint the furniture, I'm gonna be using Beyond Paint, which is the sponsor of this video.
Beyond Paint is an all-in-one paint that provides ease of application with no stripping, no sanding, and no priming required. Formulated to bond on nearly any surface except for walls, including cabinets, furniture, countertops, vanities, even glazed tile. It's easy to apply for both DIYers and seasoned pros. The instructions recommend to mush or stipple into the crevice areas instead of traditional brush strokes to make sure that every nook and cranny gets covered. Then after doing that, you roll all the possible areas with an all-purpose fabric roller, which they sent me a kit that had everything I needed and was very helpful to use for this project. Beyond Paint can also be found at your local Lowe's, and they have a good variety of colors, including sage, which is the color that I'm using for this project. Using Beyond Paint, homeowners can avoid undertaking a costly home renovation and in just a few simple steps achieve a professional quality makeover without the painstaking prep work, saving valuable time, effort, and money. This paint is specifically engineered to work for both indoors and outdoor projects. Beyond Paint is an all-in-one bonder, primer, finisher that cures to a durable washable surface in just 1 or 2 coats. There's a 2 to 4 hour dry time in between. The paint formulation is slightly textured to eliminate brush marks, but that texture helps covers imperfections, especially in an older piece like this. When you first apply the paint, the texture is really noticeable, but a lot of it goes away as it dries. And as a special gift for today's viewers, Beyond Paint is offering a 10% discount on all paint products on their website for a limited time. Simply enter the discount code DIYTIFF at checkout. That's DIY Tiff for 10% off your online purchase of Beyond Paint all-in-one paint. While the paint was drying, I had to figure out what to do with the top, and I was going to route it the same way I did the skirt at the bottom, but then I decided that I wanted a simpler look. So I got this 1/8 of an inch round over bit to round off the edges. After that, I did more sanding, and then I started staining. I always use pre-stain before I stain anything, and I forgot, so I started to stain this, but I stopped because this avoids everything looking blotchy, and I like the look that the pre-stain gives it, so I'm gonna do this first, and this side is gonna be what it is. There's probably not gonna be a lot of difference because the stain I'm using is really light, so it actually complements the grain of the pine very nicely, but I do want to pre-stain it. I don't know what it's gonna do if I do this on top. We'll see, I guess. And now everything's stained. The interesting thing though is that none of these look the same color. And I hope, I hope this looks good when I put it all together. Because this looks kind of the way I want it to. It's like nice. The golden pecan it does give it that golden touch, but it's not too much. It's not too yellow. The problem with pine is that pine's really yellow. So I was trying to pick something that wasn't so yellow. But then look at this. Very yellow, but it does have the pre-stain still on it, so I think it's just wet from that, so when it dries it should be lighter, hopefully. And then this one, because this was stained at a darker color, I think it also turned out to be darker than the legs. Anyways, I just hope this whole thing looks cohesive when I put it all together, and it's not like 3 different colors going on, but it is what it is at this point. So now I just wait for everything to dry. I don't like it. It's a little too yellow, which is the problem with pine. Part of me wants to leave it because I really gotta get this done. But I'm wondering if I can sand it down just a little bit, not sand the whole stain off, and do pickled oak, which is kind of like a whitewash, but it doesn't really make a huge difference in color when you apply it. I don't know. I'm gonna try it.
What's the worst thing that could happen? I don't like it. I don't like it now, so let's try it. I think the one that bothers me the most is the drawer because it's really yellow. And it's because it was stained before, and even though I sanded it off, like I think like the stain is still part of it there. So anything that I put on there is just gonna be a stronger color. It's also like a much older wood, and you know, pine gets yellow over time. So I think that's what bothers me the most. But let's try to fix it. That looks better. That top drawer was so yellow and so dark, and I didn't do anything to the legs. Actually, the legs didn't suck up the stain as much as the drawer and the top did. So the legs actually match perfect right now with the drawer. I know the lighting is off here because it's getting dark outside, so there's not a lot of lighting to show it, but the legs look perfect. This now looks good. And the top looks a little bit lighter than the drawer, but that's okay. I like that whitewash look for some reason. This is what I did on the last bathroom I did. I built the countertop and I did like a whitewash. I think maybe that's what I was looking for. I should have just followed that same process, but I also like trying new colors because I don't know if I'm gonna like them. I always hope that I do. The other color that I liked was this one right here, which is Puritan Pine. But the problem is, someone in the comments told me that Puritan Pine, they don't make it anymore. And I tried to find it to see if I could find it somewhere, and I didn't find it so where I can buy it. So I don't know. I have to find what the new Puritan Pine color is called. There's that one too, but I feel like that's too dark. I didn't want to go dark. Oh, okay. I'm gonna leave it. That's it. I'm done. I'm gonna have to learn to like it.
Except that I didn't like it, so I did 2 more coats of pickled oak.
I changed my mind again. After multiple coats of the pickled oak color, I like it, but it's not the color that I'm looking for. Staining is really hard. Getting the right type of stain color is really hard, especially on pine because pine is so yellow. There were things like I was trying to not do an aged wood color. I also didn't want it to be too yellow. I also didn't want it to be dark. So here's where I landed. This is the top, but it's the bottom of it. The top's still, you know, pretty. The bottom, I've been doing the test. This is Puritan Pine. I really like this color. And I have enough to do this project, so it's not a problem. The problem is gonna be later because I plan on building the bedboard probably for the bed, and I wanted it to match, and I'm not going to have enough stain to do that. So I think I'll cross that bridge when I get there. For now, I'm going to go with Puritan Pine. So I'm gonna sand everything down again and do Puritan Pine. I like it. The drawer looks similar to what it looked like when I first sanded it, and I was like, I don't like it. But I think all of it together looks good. It doesn't look like the brand new pine like it was before when I had it washed out, but it also doesn't look weathered. It complements the pine color is what I'm trying to say. So all I have to do is the clear coat. I'm gonna do a coat of brush-on polyurethane on this, sand it, and then do a second coat with a wipe-on poly. The drawer and the legs, I'm only gonna do the wipe-on poly just because it's easier to apply, and they don't really get a lot of wear. The top, however, because you know you put stuff on there, it can get scratched and stuff, so I like to do the brush-on first. So anyways, 2 coats, 2 coats, 2 coats on the legs, and then I'm done.
If you're curious about how much I spent on this project, it would have been around $229 for all materials. Beyond Paint provided me with the paint, but if I would have bought it, that's how much I would have spent. They have sizes from samples all the way up to 1 gallon available. $229 is not bad for 3 pieces of furniture compared to how much brand new furniture is these days.
This was a roller coaster of a project. but I'm really happy with how it turned out. It looks really cute. The drawer came out a little bit more orangey than what I wanted it to. For some reason it keeps turning orange, but I think it's gonna work with what I'm trying to do in this room. And it looks really cute. I like it. Overall, I do like it. The knobs are the same one that I use on the one-day makeover. So I just use the same ones because I like them. And the other thing I did is I added wallpaper inside the drawer because inside the drawer it looked a little rough. So I found some cute wallpaper and I put that on. And I'm really proud with how the little feet came out. They look really cute. And the night tables, I'm so impressed that I was able to repair the missing pieces, and they also look super cute. So overall, I'm really happy with how this turned out. Even though it was a challenge, that's how I learn. And the next project is gonna be even more challenging because I'm planning to build a headboard from scratch and maybe a bed frame. Maybe. I'm so glad I'm done with this. Thank you for sticking with me to the end. Here are the final shots.
I'm so happy with how these pieces turned out, and the paint looks really good. So don't forget to check out beyondpaint.com or check the link in the description and use the code DIYTiff for 10% off.